Hello everyone, Athena Artiste here, back with Chapter 10 now in my Adam and Eve start under harsh conditions in what is a marsh map type. I'm starting right over here in my mod list, first of all to remind everyone that this is Colonial Charter 1.61, and I have done a restart and a replay until, well, I got as close as I could to where things were at the end of Chapter 9. Some things I might have to be doing over and stuff, but you'll see when we get into that. But just to remind everyone, yes, I have added in both the happiness radius mod along with the unhappiness one. And I've also put in, based upon a viewer suggestion, the cold realism mod, which I have loaded here up at the top, because this is going to make my wild foods and herbs and everything, anything growing out there in the wild in the winter when it dips below freezing, they're going to die off, which is the way I want things to be. I am trying to make this harder on myself, if you will, with sticking with the harsh climate and so forth. But I'm also keeping in, I've activated it, is Red Ketchup's, let me scroll it down here just a bit so you can see it a bit better, his wonderful new medieval town mod, which I'm making nice usage of over in my Waterworld playthrough. I've decided to keep it over here too because there are some wonderful things in there, and they will come in play in this as well. And a quick answer for someone who asked me a question over on Steam, why, if all these red backgrounds on these mods, doesn't that mean that you can't use them together? Well, that's a yes and a no answer on that one. The red flag because the game of Banished is noticing that, well, actually quite a few of these are trying to modify some of the same things about the mechanics of the game. So that's why they have the red flag. Does that mean that they are totally incompatible? Again, yes and no on that, because sometimes it does mean it. Most of the time, it means that you have to pay attention to your load order. You'll notice that I have the main mods down here, and I have all these other things that I want to be modifying these mods. I have them loading first before the main mods. So that means that even though they're red flag, they're all going to work together and be fine. But there are certain mods that, based upon what they do and things like that, that they would be totally unable to work together. So I strongly suggest you check out, if you're concerned, there's a, like for example, there's a nice list over on Colonial Charter's website. You could see the link for that down below as to which mods are compatible and which ones are not. They are constantly testing these things and also improving them, which is another reason why I went with the Colonial Charter 1.61, is because they had put in some of these improvements. Now, one of the things you're going to notice right away as I bring you into the game is that I have a purple radius. That is actually my hospital right here, folks. And that is because the hospital is increasing the happiness level, as does the well here, as you could see. Let me bring that back up. But you notice that the well's radius is smaller, even though it's right next to the doctor's office. Its radius is smaller because its effect is smaller. So that's what I mean. Mr. K did a wonderful job on these mods, these unhappiness and happiness mods, and I really recommend those of you that are playing on this that you have some fun with it. The other thing I did with this playthrough, there's a couple significant changes. Well, not so much significant, but changes I did. For one thing, I put in a second school right out here, where this little, I guess you could say, mini community here is my forest zone area, so that there's not anyone in there now. All of my kids are actually down in this school. Whoops, that's the workshop, sorry. Where'd I put the school? Where's the school? Where did I put the school? I know there's another, there it is. They've got 4 students in this one. So this one is one I'm actually going, because I have so many more people living down here. Eventually I'm going to build them the bigger school down here, because they have more students going to school down here. But I really love these little tiny schools, because yes, and they're small and they're tiny, and you could tuck them in like that in little areas like this, so that your kids are not walking so far back and forth to school. So, now, let's put the game in motion, and I'm going to put up my list of the things I want to get done, and I'm going to try to stick to my more normal 20-minute mark for this, because what we're working on up here, folks, is our sawmill. And the sawmill is going up because I need the sawmill so I can... Oh, and I had someone die. Hold on. Pause the game. I'm pretty sure that's the forester. So, yeah, they were in this building right here. Okay, it's not empty. Don't need to worry about it. And yes, as things get going and I have more people and everything, I'm not going to be quite so obsessive about watching who moves into new houses and all that and everything. But early on in the game, I just found that I need to do that. Okay, so we're getting the sawmill built, and I think I've done a pretty good job in duplicating my setup, as I said. And I do need to put in, oh, they're going to need much more stone. And they don't have, because this I made just strictly a wood stockpile. So let's give them, it's going to be a traditional stockpile, so they could put in the stone and the iron ore in there. But I'm going to make it really small, just for me, a 2x4. There's a tiny little one there. And, oh, dear, I forgot. Bad. I forgot to put the stockpiles in for my dense tree shack. So let's take one person off of being builder, and they're going right to work on the sawmill for me. Because remember, I want them to chop me. I need 40 for... Let's put the hold on the hospital now, so that we can get the 40 for the 20 for the salt box done first, and then the 40 for the hospital. Because eventually, I'm going to have one person, let's see, now I want a wood stockpile. I want one person to be there in my doctor's office full time, and I want the other person to be working in my sawmill full time. But they won't be cutting lumber all the time. But I want that they can be cutting firewood when I'm not needing them to cut lumber for me. So I will actually, let me set up another camera position so I can jump up here. And because this is going to be my trading zone, I always like, at least my first one, I like to have it for that camera position. So there, now I can jump up here real nice and fast without fumbling around a bit. And let's see, how are we doing on lumber? Are you cutting lumber? Yes, you've got 40 cut for me already. So 20 more, and you're coming off of there. So, while I'm doing that, I need to get a lot more stone collected, don't I? Because I'm going to need it for these wells, and for the doctors, the hospitals. Hospital needs 60. So let's keep making sure we've got some stone. Is there any down in here that I have left? Don't look like it. Because one of the other things, now I had actually a nice conversation with Mr. K about these mods after my Chapter 9 came out, and he said, and yes, it's true, it's true. See, this is the cemetery. This produces happiness. And I made it smaller, by the way, in this playthrough. But you see, so it has that purple radius. But even after it is built, now I still have my purple radius. Which means, of course, with the unhappiness, I will have the red radius. Now that is wonderful. And it's going to make things so much easier. So I'm very thrilled about that. So that is one of, I don't know if that came from the improvements in 1. I strongly suspect it came from the improvements in 1.61. Let me grab a little bit of iron ore here, because how are we doing iron ore wise? Ooh, down to 128, yeah. We need more iron ore. Because I'd rather my laborers be getting my ores and that collected from the ground, as well as cutting the wood. Well, they're not cutting the wood. I've got my foresters doing the wood cutting in this one, finally. And they're getting, they got almost 300. They're doing quite well. I have 2 of them on there. And I have it set just for 2, correct? Yes, good. I did that right. Okay, how are you doing, lumber? Oh, you have 75. Ooh, you're done. So we're going to shut that down for right now. And we've almost got the salt box house built. And we're going to turn on the hospital next. So there, we've had 2 people move in there. So now we're going to, because this is, like I said, is my plan. The 2 people, adults that is, living here, one will be on the sawmill, one will be on the doctor's office. And eventually, yes, I'm going to be putting another school even yet up in here, which will eventually be one of the bigger ones because I'm actually setting up my whole trading zone up in here. And there I've had 2 more people grow up and graduate. And what am I going to do with you folks? Well, hopefully right now you're running around and chopping stone for me. But I think I'm going to put in another home down in here. Because I think I'm going to have one of you go. Yes. Let's put 2 of you on now as the herbalists. So let's see, I've got 2 working here, 2 working there, 2 for now working there, and 2 here, and of course my teacher. So that means I have 7 adults. So a minimum of 3 houses out here. So I've got the 3. Actually, I need the 4th one, though, for my teacher. And then eventually I'll put him over, the extra person, over on being the gatherer. But right now, I bet you anything, when someone moves in here, they're going to have a student for a spouse. So, come on, you got to get that stone cut for me. Where are we doing? Where's some more stone? I am going to have to get my stone production going here sometime soon. But that's going to be a ways off. Along with my, of course, getting the iron going. How are we doing on iron ore now? Well, 133. It's not horrible, but it's not the greatest. My blacksmith, okay, yes, you got a student in there, so just fine for now. Okay, still not enough stone for that hospital. Dear, dear, dear. Oh. Well, there's some bunch of stone up there. Let's just grab some of that. Get that collected. And we actually have, I need to get this stuff out of here too. Okay, So let's start working on this setup over here for this. Now, as I mentioned, I believe in Chapter 9, I'm planning on putting additional houses a little bit in here. I don't want to come down too far, because after all, this is my forest zone area right in here, but I can put in a fair number of houses and maybe even a cropland. Let's do that actually first. Although, then they're going to start wanting to chop the trees for that. Well, no, I want the dense orchard. We'll do that. I'm going to put in a really skinny one, about 6 wide. Let's just go with 16. Now, how's that? Yes. Now that will only need... What I have found that works really well is to keep my, number one, keep my crop fields and my orchards very, very small. And I got a little funny little thing in my road right there for some reason. Let's see if I can't get that in right. Oh, it's probably something there that I haven't going to get. Well, we'll just leave it for right now. And this is where I'm going to introduce those of you who have not seen it to Red Ketchup's mod. Because I'm going to give them a barn up here. Because after all, when they're growing my fruits and vegetables, or fruits or whatever it is that they're growing in this orchard, I'm going to need some place to put them. And I'm going to give them the barn, which as you can see uses very few resources. And also very small amount of land space. And there we've got a bunch of kids growing up. Put 2 people on builders. I'm working away on my hospital. And I'm going to start putting in... I want to put in... Let's see. Where's this? It's right there. So I want to put in 2 houses. Let's see. Let's put... We're going to put... Because I'm actually going to have 4 people on this forester. So, we're going to have 1 house right there. And another one I'm going to put right here. Now this one I'm putting a hold on. And I'm going to put a well. You know how much I love my wells. But I want to put a well in here right next to those that will cover both these buildings. So, but I don't want them to build that well just yet, because I don't want the stone. I want the stone going... Well, actually, there's not going to need much there, so... Alright, they're just about done with building my hospital. Wonderful. And let us start, because it's not going to take them long. So let's put a rush on this part now. And then come over here and make sure they're staying on task with my hospital here. Let me start turning on some of these wells that I want. This one still has to be built. And then we have... Yeah, they've got the stone over there already, so it's safe for me to turn on some of these wells. Of course, they're going to start telling me now they're going to run out of stone. But then that's okay. We'll work on that as we go. Because I really don't like having them go without wells, because fires can happen anytime. Where are my builders? Why aren't you finishing up my hospital here? We need to get this finished, folks. Well, their bather is an herb. Where's my builders? I got 2 people on as builders. Where are you living at right now? Well, they're back to building it at least. I don't know where you are and what you're doing, but okay. We got that one done, finally. So, hopefully one of my people over here became the doctor. Nope. I don't know where my doctor is. Where is my doctor? Well, it says they're there. Okay, they changed jobs. Fine. I'm happy for you. Now let's get to work on these two. Get this other house built over here because I want to put 2 people, at least for now, into working on this because they're going to need to be getting... Once I start putting this sawmill into full operation, regardless of whether they're cutting lumber or firewood, they're going to be burning through logs quite fast. So I want to have this up and running so that there's trees coming from this area. Because believe me, the trees are going to grow all over the place here. But I need to get them up and running before I put that sawmill into operation full time. So I have a nice, large, steady supply of logs available for them to work with. And there's another person growing up. And, let's see. I only want to put 2 people up there. Let's put in... Okay. Oh dear, and I'm at the 20-minute mark here. And I'm not done with that. Okay. Guess we're running just a little long here. Let's put in another set of houses in here. We'll bump it out just a little bit. We'll put one more in there. And we will let you build that one. We'll put... Oh, geez, I can't see this very well. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Pause the game. Okay, we're putting 2 people onto this one right now. So then they're going to start working on that. Let's see. What have we got here? Where is this one at? Oh, that one's there. So don't need to keep tracking that one. Okay, now that one's getting built. Now this is the one I was trying to put it back in motion. And let's spin things around here. I'm going to put... I haven't had that other person die on me yet. Because I strongly suspect they will sometime soon. Okay, but I'm putting a hold on this one. So, let's bring in our road just to go around there. There. Like that. And once these straighten things around, come back up here. Once things are pretty much built, because like right now they're working on building wells for me and so forth, I'm going to increase my gatherers up to 4, which means I'm going to need those houses for that. But right now you're building the house here, and I think this is where I'm going to call this episode. Let me put the game in pause. There we go. They're in there, and I'm going to call it right here at this point for the end of this chapter, because I have pretty much done everything I had on my list, and now we can move forward from this point and hopefully get once I've got this sort of up and running, I can finally get to work more on getting my iron smelted and so forth. So much work to do to get to that point. So see you soon. Bye for now.